Welcome, everybody. This is CyberBulls. So we are a group of investors who have different investing styles. Some of us invest all in with just one stock. Some of us spread out our investments, and other of us play with stock options. Today, we like to talk about Tesla. We're going to talk about the Fed and the macro environment, and we're going to talk about other stocks as well, like Palantir and Redwood Materials. With us today is the Bulls, and we've got Alexander Mertz, we've got Christian Valente, Xander Sky, and Jeff Lutz. Welcome, everybody.
Good to be here.
All right. So one of the big topics that I think we've been having a lot of conversation about is it sure does look like that the Fed is going right after Tesla. There's a number of things happening. So first of all, there's a lawsuit that the government's going after Tesla and even SpaceX. We've also seen now more loans being given directly to the big autos. What do you guys think? Why is this happening? Who wants to start here?
I mean, I can start. Starting with here's the news that's breaking today. The U.S. government announced not only loans, but they announced grants. That's money the U.S. government is going to give to automakers, big automakers, and I'll get to that in a minute, that they don't have to pay back. There's about $2 billion of it or more in grants. So what happened today is they announced the Department of Energy announced a $15.5 billion program to help automakers transition. Okay, first stipulation: transition their factories, retool their factories to EV. And there's language in the announcement regarding retaining labor. And as you know, there's a huge UAW strike pending in just over 2 weeks from now. And there was language in there, and that part of that money, that's grant money that they're going to be given, not loan money. And the terms that were used for that were around collective bargaining and around basically a certain labor type and not just any company. So the way that the language is written, it's written to retool factories. It's written for certain types of labor that basically appear to, at this point, could be perceived as excluding Tesla, and really focused on providing money to companies that have UAW workers and unions. And this would be Ford, GM, Stellantis. So this is $15.5 billion. Again, some of it's grant money, factory retooling, labor, and as well as there's more additional money in there for battery factory development and expansion. Now let's keep going on in the total. $15.5 billion here. Just 2 months ago, Ford was given conditional loan approval for $9.2 billion. Ford and SK, who are to do their battery factories for Ford, and that was $9.2 billion. And then just the year prior, GM, Ultium, and LG were given $2.5 billion again as a loan from the Department of Energy. So when you add up all of this in less than a year, the money printers turn on. It's $27.2 billion that have been given in terms of loans and grants from the federal government to big auto. So this pales in comparisons to some of the prior bailouts, and this is huge. It's not getting widely reported. It's coming out in pieces, but I can't imagine that this can go on for too long. And it's a big number, and if you take what's happening, you can't just take it in isolation. Because literally on the other side of the coin, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this, and I'll shut up here, you have these selective prosecutions that are going on, whether it's investigating Tesla or investigating Elon Musk himself for things like hiring too many Americans, this $5 million house project when he's worth over $200 billion. So we'll get into more of this. But I think the big breaking news is Tesla has a new competitor, and it's the money printer from the federal government.
It's the government, yeah. Alexandra, what do you think?
That's scary because the U.S. government money printers are pretty big.
Exactly. I mean, and that's the whole problem, because it's such a waste of time and of energy. We discussed last week the ridiculous case of the DOJ against SpaceX for these non-green card holder citizens maybe not getting their fair shake at lower level jobs. I mean, it was certainly out of prudence. We addressed that. This now with this glass house project, which never existed, but obviously makes a nice story and beautiful headlines, just as ridiculous. And on top of it, what they obviously are trying to do is tie Tesla into it. What they want is neither Tesla nor SpaceX, but what they want is shut up X. We're going into an election year, and I'm no conspiracy theorist here, but they really don't know what is happening with Elon's platform, and they can't handle him. Not the way they were in the last 2 elections, able to steer social media in what they thought probably being the correct move. But obviously the Twitter files showed, how much interference there was. So what they're trying to do is intimidate Elon, and I think they have found somebody stronger than them, but it is going to take a lot of energy and a lot of infighting for Elon to win this one. And he honestly needs all our support for this one, because this can get really, really dirty. And for it to be now, this is the 3rd scandal in a week. And each of them is as ridiculous as the first or the second one. So this is really getting out of hand, and we can expect more and more of these. You remember when he took over in October 2022, Twitter, now X, there was already a phase where he said, well, I'm not suicidal. Don't think anything, could happen to me. They gave him a break. Now we're 10 months in. Now it's really getting closer to next year's election. The first primaries will happen, whatever. He is being very vocal politically. This is going to get really dirty a lot.
Yeah, sure. It sure looks like that it's got something to do with that, because this doesn't make sense to me at all. So this is an article saying that the U.S. attorney in New York is seeking information on Musk lieutenant. And so for some reason, which is so weird, the Tesla is like they had plans to purchase hard to get construction materials, which is glass, for some sort of potential glass house, inappropriate use of company funds. And so, okay, then why do you need the U.S. Attorney's Office to be part of that? By the way, Elon did tweet out just earlier, a few hours ago, saying that no, there's no glass house. And why would the richest man have to have Tesla pay for his glass house? So there's a person named Omid Afshar, who was a key lieutenant to Elon. He was removed from Tesla, moved to SpaceX. And again, it's just weird that the prosecutor, why are they seeking information for something like this, which is kind of more of an internal Tesla audit rather than it being anything to do with U.S. prosecutors?
And especially the Southern,
it sure feels like there's,
yeah, and especially the Southern District of New York. I mean, you can look at a couple of these scandal cases against certain politicians or whatever. Surprise, surprise, the Southern District of New York is always one of the early ones to raise the flag. So why in the world an employee of Austin, negotiating or not glass that may be used for the Cybertruck or a glass house, I mean, where are we, in Austin suddenly would concern the Southern District of New York? Because obviously what they're trying to do is tie it to the stock price, right? Because they always know the class action suit of some stockholders who, the good sisters of I don't know what, all these groups we hear every year for the annual meeting. Somebody will take the baton and bring it to the Southern District of the New York court. So that's what they are trying to build up. This is what I hate about these things so much, is they are retro-engineering a case. They know where they would like to get. They are throwing out balloons and hoping people react, and then somebody may sue, and then they can construct the case, putting the puzzle into place from the ground up afterwards. It is disgusting, and it really doesn't honor the current administration. I mean, between giving grants and loans to the competitors, ignoring Tesla for years, and now instrumentalizing certain entities with a very targeted goal of blaming, shaming, and whatever else, it's just disgusting. I hate it, and I'm not going to keep silent about it.
All right, Christian.
I agree. I mean, Jeff and Alexandra said it well. I mean, to me, I'm not going to say what I really think, because you won't last on this channel, Herbert. Anyway, the the United States government and what they're doing with these silly, frivolous attacks on Elon and SpaceX and Tesla is absolutely ridiculous. This I was talking about this stuff in privately 6 months ago, a year ago, I think even with us, that if you want to take something down that you don't like Tesla, that's threatening so many different organizations, automobiles, energy, all these things, right, that are entrenched with big money in politics, the one way to do it is take the head out, right? And that's Elon. And the first time they couldn't do it, right? He was able to get Tesla through, make it profitable, and the stock rallied and the shorts got slammed. That's step one. But they're not going to give up. This is step two, right? And this stuff is this is little stuff. Like they could go harder, right? So Elon needs to be ready. And he was talking about that legal A team that he was going to put together. Well, guess what? He better have it together now because more of this stuff's going to be coming, and he needs to be able to defend Tesla. He needs to be able to defend himself, and he needs a representation to knock these things back. So I hope he's got that thing up and running. And it's going with the political season coming. Look out! It's going to get worse.
I think it's just noise, and Alexandra and Jeff and Christian had enough. It's terrible. It's a waste of resources, and I just, I pay attention to it, but I think it's just noise and a waste of time.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have said that it's a constant barrage. I mean, there's always something happening. I agree, but at the end of the day, I think it's not actually impacting Tesla or Elon so far. Elon himself is causing his own issues. He's just letting it slide as well. But here's an example. There was a really good survey that was recently done because everybody was wondering whether or not, this approval of Elon is really hurting Tesla stock and Tesla owners. And there was this one survey that was asked of 5,000 Model 3 owners. And they asked them, why did they walk away from not buying a Model 3 once they sold their cars and replaced them with another brand? And the number one reason is disapproval of Elon at 21%. And then concerns of quality came in second, unhappy with brand perception. But you have to put this in perspective because the perspective here is that 87% of Model 3 owners considered buying a Tesla for their next vehicle. This is through the roof, successful product. People love the product. It's only that 13% of people who decided not to, and it's only of that group that, the number one reason is because of not agreeing with Tesla, of Elon. And so at the end of the day, it's actually only 2.7% of Tesla's buyers walk away because of their feelings about Musk. And then the argument that many people are making is that, well, because of Musk, there's way more than just 2.7% of people that are buying Tesla. At the end of the day, this is a wash. It's not that big of a deal. So, as much as we hear this on the news, we hear this everywhere, it's really, at the end of the day, so far, not impacting the business, not impacting the stock as much as we all think it is. What do you guys think on that comment?
You're completely right that it is not a big deal, right? I mean, 2% of potential repurchasers not considering Model 3. It is what it is. And it's always so easy in those polls to be anonymously trashy. It's the easiest thing to be. But at the same time, these 50,000 potential cars, if really it is that many, could actually be replaced with two very easy things that Tesla is not doing. Because it's all good having Elon with all his shine and all his intelligence and all his genius up there, but obviously he does offend some people. So it would be great if Tesla would include a sort of a defensive strategy for that. And it could be so easy. It doesn't mean, you have to protect Elon or whatsoever, but discuss, for example, in a very public way, the current prices of Model 3s. At the moment, I mean, we've discussed a couple of weeks ago, I think the best strategy would have been to put a billboard in the roads and just say that's how much it costs in each state now, after all, tax incentives and everything, because the Model 3 is so attractive financially, yet there is no communication for it. So a very good defensive strategy to recuperate those 50,000 and have an argument against it could have been to a little bit more activity on the ad side or on the PR side, because that's, I mean, I know it's a unspoken word to never talk about PR when you're in Tesla world. But if you have this behavior, and if you have the press against you, and if you have now the DOJ and other federal agencies against you, how about you suddenly start at least putting your message out there as well, rather than just hoping it goes away? I mean, the temperature has certainly increased against Teslas, and this survey shows as well how screwed they are in showing the results, because the first thing you see is that 21%, right? Nobody understands that it's actually less than 3% until you really dig into it. So all this would need a little bit of a reaction and a correction of the part of Tesla, and I think it's still a blind spot they have, and then this whole subject would be gone a long time ago.
Yeah, I think all of us, right? Let's raise hands here. Who here does not, I think we all agree that PR and ads should be done, right? We all agree.
Yeah,
right?
well, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the only thing is they have been starting to do. Alexander, you raised your hand, right? You agree?
No, he doesn't.
I really appreciate that there's all these articles and all of this noise and anti-Tesla stuff, because I'm still growing my position. So I'm conflicted. I really,
come on.
No, look, I look into the future. I look at why I invested into this company. And so it's a part of the territory. I've said this for many years. When this noise stops, that's when you're going to see a giant, rise in the stock price, because everyone's going to be buying into the narrative. So a different narrative.
Okay.
So I appreciate it.
So you're still buying.
Okay, that's fine. And I'm supportive of that. For all the people out there that say, just hold for 10 years and you'll be fine. I put my hand up. I've been holding for 10 years, and occasionally it's good to have some liquidity events. So you actually don't want I call them unforced errors all the time, every time. You don't want every, earnings call turning into some sort of scene. You don't want these unforced errors. They're going to happen. They're going to happen with volatility. They're going to happen with the name, the leadership. That's okay. But like all unforced errors all the time, I mean, the company's got to be putting up the numbers then. And that's the thing. It's got to be putting up the earnings numbers. You know what? Have all the unforced errors you want and grow earnings, 30, 50, 100%. And then I think it truly is noise. But when you're not doing that, and you have a lot of unforced errors, consolidating at the same time, it's tough. And there's people, like I said, there's people that have already been in this for 10 years. And I plan on being a long-term holder. But, there's certain points in time where, not me, but others may want some liquidity. And it just can't be, a lot of unforced errors all the time.
Yeah, I agree with Jeff. So like we've already had a huge move in Tesla stock over the last few years, but Tesla is, again, I am bullish long term, but to Jeff's point, when the numbers are slowing because of the macro, or things are not going the way they used to, when you get noise and the numbers aren't there, meaning, Wall Street, we complain about Wall Street and the media, and I get it. And I'm a Tesla supporter. I'm an Elon Musk supporter. But Wall Street has caught up with Tesla as far as the numbers go. They can pinpoint the revenue, they can pinpoint the gross margins, and they can pinpoint the EPS, just like all the Tesla analysts now. They have caught up to that story. There needs to be a new story to get Tesla stock to move, and that could be the V12 drive. But again, that needs to turn into something. It could be Tesla bot. But right now, Wall Street is caught up to the story. You need a surprise. You need the analysts being offsides on something. And right now, it's so easy to understand Tesla stock as far as the numbers. You take the amount of vehicles, multiply it, throw the gross margin out there, and you get the EPS. I mean, anybody can do it now. There's no surprise. So to Jeff's point, when the business is not like accelerating and the business is not going what it did in 19 and 20 with growth slowing now, it's not growing 70, 80%. It's lucky to grow, 40% or 50% if we're lucky. You need that to tighten up everything else. So, I'm just saying, like, there's other stocks doing really well, and Tesla stock is coming back. But, what's Q3 going to look like? I think we should talk about that. That would be a good discussion right now. Is Q3, are we going to deliver more cars than Q2? I'm just throwing it out there. I think we will, but I think there's an open question if they will or not. And what does that do to the stock if we can't grow quarter over quarter? I think that's a good discussion.
It is. It is. I do believe we'll deliver more. We may have less on production just because of these factory upgrades and all that, but I do believe between the inventory that was left at Q2 and how they've been strategizing it, I do believe Q3 will be bigger. But if it is not, I agree with you, they can hammer the stock again, just because that's just Tesla takes every bad news, double and triple, and every good news gets always, cut down. It's a tough spot to be in as a Tesla shareholder, but as Sander says, for those still accumulating, Sander, me, certainly some of you, it gives us buying opportunity as long as we see the medium and long term. That's the only way to survive as a Tesla survivor. If you are in it for the daily variations and all that, you better be a good trader, because it's not fun.
Yeah, so I'm in the camp that they can deliver more in Q3 than Q2. I think that's possible. They had a pretty big inventory to burn through globally, and they're going through these rolling shutdowns of the facilities for these upgrades. So I believe production will be lower, but I believe there'll be a nice free cash flow benefit of burning through the inventory. I also think it is possible they'll ship more, although, you know what, I'm in the camp of they may not too. And then, so a lot is going to happen, I think, over the next 30 days. We may get 2 massive product unveils and announcements, massive to the company. You're talking about Model 3, which is, 25% of their volume. And, if this thing is really, lower cost and better looking, it's a hit. And so it could be this look ahead. We could be in this weird mode of like product unveils happening. Yep, we already signaled on the last call that that production is going to be light. By the way, they could have said deliveries are going to be lighter too. They could have said it, and they didn't. So I think they know something, but I think there's a chance that it could be lighter. But I think the street's going to look ahead, because in Q4. You've got to replenish that inventory. That is, that's not 90 to 100,000 cars just sitting around. You need available inventory to meet these ever increasing sellout velocities. Don't listen to this noise on Twitter. When you're scaling a business like Tesla is scaling, you actually need to, and you're adding delivery nodes and you're adding to your production nodes, you need to add to inventory. So if they've depleted it, they're going to have to replenish it. The other reason they're going to have to replenish it is because of the IRA moving to a point of sale in the United States. And people are going to be driving off the lot with a car that's 15 to 20% cheaper than when they went to bed on December 31st. So I think there's a lot of catalysts that would call for Q4 to be very high production, and they would actually have to build and replenish inventory for, I think, even a much bigger Q1 coming.
Hit on that initial when you buy it, you'll get the reduction. I think that's huge. And I think, they could be looking past Q3 into Q4. And the stock's been doing nicely lately. So, I think everything's okay, but it's just throwing it out there, that Q3, we could be surprised, because we've never seen a quarter over quarter in a long time lower. And right now, it looks like a lot of people are, some people that follow this very closely are predicting that that's going to happen.
But they called it and it got hit.
Sorry, what do you mean?
They said it in the earnings call. They said production is going to be lower in Q3.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean deliveries, though.
And they took a hit.
The deliveries too. Yeah.
Yep, gotcha. So when we publish this video, it'll be Thursday, September 1st, and they're actually having a big event in Norway. And it said in the actual invite that there might be a little surprise. So who knows what it could be, but it could be the revealing of the Model 3. I mean, that's just a rumor. We never know, but it is already September. And so we are very likely going to have a Model 3 reveal. And if not the Cybertruck by the end of sometime this month in September, it will be by the following month. So, that's fine. And then we do know, I just want to go back to the PR and ads. Tesla is already doing advertisements, right? They've been playing around with advertisements on Google. They've started to advertise on magazines. We know that Tesla China has been significant advertising already. So I think the wheels are in motion. We're going to start seeing more of that. Elon has already said he's not against advertisement. It's going to happen. He's now running X, which is 100% advertising based. And I think that he's hired a lot of lawyers. I think we've seen a lot of the job postings for the lawyers to do some legal version of public relations, attack somebody who's attacked them. So, you know, we as investors, we don't think that they're doing enough. They need to do more, but it's at least it's no longer this, you know, we're never going to do it, but it's much more of just scaling it up from where they are today.
Okay, can I take this up just a second before you go to Q3? So on the ads, so you listed Google. The Google links actually prove to be a very smart single person who put the Google links, so his referral number would be included when people ordered. So that was not Tesla itself, that the company doing any Google ads. It was somebody paying for the Google ads to then the users use his referral. So that one doesn't count. The ads in magazine, I agree with you, they were small. What gives me some hope is that we've seen the Cybertruck in the snow with photographers and all that. We had a couple of shots. I don't even know where they come from, because these shots, you know, somebody must leak them for us to suddenly have them. But my secret hope is that there will be a huge ad campaign for the Cybertruck, because first of all, it is obviously such a different object that the ad could be so impressive, right? I mean, if you want to spend a lot of money on your first ad, make it as beautiful as the original Apple ads were, which was one of the conditions Elon named, the Cybertruck is the ideal product for it, right? Because the Model 3 revamp will be nice, but the person that's not so much in the Teslaverse as we are will hardly see the difference. So my hope is that the ads are actually only coming now and will be massive for the Cybertruck launch, and that will then create whatever should come. And I'm sorry I interrupted you.
But no, because the opposite of that is that the Cybertruck is such an iconic design that will advertise itself, and there's absolutely zero need for us to do advertising, because every time it's driving, it is an advertisement. So what do you guys think of that?
I think you're right, Herbert. But again, look, Cybertruck is an amazing vehicle. And, you know, on X, everybody's showing, oh my God, a Cybertruck sighting. That's great. But 99% of the rest of the country doesn't care about Cybertruck. Like, they just don't. Maybe not that much, but like most Americans don't know. So when you got a product like the Model 3 that I think in some instances costs $29,000 or $33,000 or $35,000, at some point you can make an argument to say, if we spend X to get this in front of some Americans that doesn't know about this, from a business, forget the stock, a business, you want to sell as many cars as you can at the best price you can clear it at. So when the argument is, we'll just, you know, cut price, I think there is now we go deeper and deeper and deeper. There is a legitimate argument to be made that the value of a Model 3 and even a Model Y is so great that if you can put some incremental dollars in getting this product and what it does for value in front of people that do not know about it, you will make a return on that investment. I just believe you would. And okay. So to me, I think they should do a little more. Do I care if they do more? No. Do I care if they advertise? No. But do I think from a business point where if you can clear it at a higher price and make more money for your business, I don't know why you wouldn't. Other than
in the United States, more than 50% of cars sold is a truck format. So the Model 3 is actually not going to be a big, massive seller in the United States.
Well, it's going to be the Cybertruck. A Model 3, if you could pick it up in the 30-something thousand, that's a much better car than an internal combustion engine. Why would it not sell, Herbert? I remember you a month ago, 2 months ago, saying Model 3 is a good car and it was going to accelerate.
I am the one who's been very bullish on the Model 3 as a sedan. Yeah. I'm just saying that in the United States, the vast majority of cars sold are trucks. And so the Cybertruck will do so much better than the Model 3 here. I think the Model 3 is going to just kill globally because the sedan market is the second largest. It's after SUVs. The truck market is very small globally. It's only in the U.S. that the U.S. the auto manufacturers in the U.S. do not produce sedans. and they make so much money in SUVs and the Ford trucks and the Chevy trucks and others, and then so they focus on that. But
I think you're right on this.
Do very well in the US.
Herbert. I think you're right on the stats. America's big on, but I love the Model 3 so much, and I'm such bullish that could do well with the numbers more than it's doing, because in America now, families, we have a lot more single people, right? We have a lot more people not having children. You don't need a huge Cybertruck anymore. You don't even need these Ford F-150s. Like the new generation, the new millennials, the new 25-year-olds that don't have, as much money, if they could pick up a Model 3, this beautiful car for $30-something thousand after you take state rebates and federal incentives, and you knock this car down and the gas, I'm telling you, there would be so many more people that would go for the sedan. They don't need a lot of room anymore. So I don't know, maybe it's just me not thinking about it right, but I think Model 3 could be so much better in the United States than it's selling now. It's what I believe. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Would you guys rather that Tesla put money towards advertising or towards lowering the interest rate? What would have the greater impact?
Advertising.
I mean, the lowering the interest rate, they can't, because they, as Elon said in the annual shareholder meeting, they are still trying to push most of the loans to the banks, right? They're just brokering them through.
Can't they contribute?
No, they can't contribute, but they could take them on their own books. They do in a little bit. I do that statistic every quarter, but it's actually slowed down. I mean, the total amount outstanding is still growing, but it's growing at a slower pace. You're right that the key word is affordability, but you can't say the Model 3 is not affordable. The Model 3 is today a very affordable car. They actually changed on the website now. They include the gas savings so that it comes below 30,000. And then in certain states, in Colorado and in California, it's less than that. So, and as we all know, from 2024 onwards, it will be not the tax saving at the end of the tax year, but directly at the counter. So so there are lots of arguments for first promoting how cheap, I mean, cheap is not the right word, how affordable it is.
Value.
Exactly, the value of the car compared to the price you're paying. And I think that communication, if people don't go on the website, they never hear about it. And yes, you can lower financing rates, but that person is already on the Tesla website. So there you're not growing your target market. You're incentivizing people that are already on the website. They're interested. They're looking at it. They're saying, "Oh gosh, that's still $450 a month or whatever price it is. If I could get it at $420, oh, I'm joking now. Then I'll take it." Right. So that's that difference. But it's people that are already halfway there. What you do with advertising is you make your cake bigger. You're inviting people to get interested in Tesla that are currently not on the website and are not simulating how much that would cost per month. And it may have the 450. They are currently running to the Toyota dealership or whatever else. And those people you have to motivate to come on the Tesla website. And I think the price is just the main thing, right? Because the price is affordability.
Now that I'm listening to this conversation, I'm more convinced than ever that they should advertise. I'm listening to Xander trying to jump through hoops to let's do this with the interest rate, do anything but advertise. And it makes no sense. If the goal, okay, again, forget stock price. If the goal is to move units and the goal is to transition the world to a sustainable energy for the mission, why would you not try to get this product in front of the people that are not going to the Tesla website? They've never heard of Tesla. I did a poll on X saying, have you ever heard of Tesla? No. How many of the rest of the population do you think do not even know Tesla exists? The number was like 30-40% didn't think that they even knew Tesla exists, like friends and family of theirs, whoever's taken the poll. So you have a huge gap between what you think and what the rest of the country knows. I am telling you for a fact, they do not know Tesla even exists. I know everyone says, how could you not know that? Because they're old. They're 40, 50. They're working. They're doing this, and they don't know Tesla.
Not old. Oh my God. Okay, but that's
so
why I think
the interest rate. That's a silly argument.
Exactly, and that's why I think the Cybertruck is a good. I mean, I don't think we can push them to do a Model 3 pricing ad. I wish we could, but I don't think that's going to work. They're stubborn. So what they may consider, I hope, is to at least do a really huge campaign on the Cybertruck, because the Cybertruck is, you're right, Christian, it's not for the LA people that need a little car to get through LA. They already have the Model 3 or the Model Y or the X or the S, but it is for middle America who gets to know Tesla.
Exactly. I want Model 3s in Georgia. I want Model 3s in Kentucky. I want Model 3s in Iowa. It's perfect. Like, they should have
Alexandra, they're not able to produce enough Cybertrucks this year. They are going to be slow ramp, and it might be 2 years before they can have massive scaling. And when they do, they will. I don't think that they're going to do an advertisement this year.
But it would be a nice... I mean, can you see that car on those pictures? This is going to be iconic.
You can see it in real life. You'll see it in real life. It is iconic. Anyways, I think I did a poll. All 5 of us agreed that we should do advertising. Let's not belabor that point. We agree that it's an issue. They should do more. They're going to do more. So let's move on to, we've talked about the government going after Tesla. We talked about the PR and ads. You know, the big news, of course, is the Elon live streaming FSD, the version 12, which is a completely new kind of AI coded software. And then the hardware 4 that's coming out. Who wants to have any opinion on this first?
I think Jeff should, because he has a hardware 4 car now, right?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of it. I'm waiting for the release to get pushed. Just picked up the car last week. Love it. Build quality is amazing. I'm very happy with it. And I was really happy to see that, Tesla responded. It's arguable. We don't know. None of us know what really happened, but there's definitely an outpouring regarding some of the hardware 4 comments and just not understanding what a lag is. And that's hard. It was definitely open to interpretation. So now we know that there are releases being pushed to hardware 4 cars. People are going on drives in hardware 4 cars, and they're saying it's doing really well. It's noticing things and it's rendering things in a manner that seem to be clearer than hardware 3, but nothing's measurable or quantifiable. Hardware 3 cars are doing great. They're on 11.47, and they're continuing to progress. There's still issues, obviously, to work through. So I think it's good what Tesla did and just getting the release pushed out, because there was this thing all broke, I think, over a weekend, and there's a bunch of people that are like, I'm canceling my orders, I'm returning my car. All these different things are going through people's heads, and I think Tesla did the right thing. Of course, they were testing this thing for months, and I'm sure it's ready. It's high quality product, and they're starting to selectively push it out to people, which is good, and it's doing well.
This is another example of a small group of people like us who follow Tesla all the time, who are part of the Tesla community, who know the difference between hardware 4 and 3. And I completely agree with you that they needed to, they could not do what they were doing, which is 6 months delayed. And then even though people started 3 months, they had to fix that, and they did. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, as an investor, we had this discussion. I'd much rather that they solve Tesla, version 12 and FSD for hardware 3, and then do hardware 4 later, because there's so few cars that are hardware 4 right now. Of course, it's going to quickly change over the year, but this is perfectly fine as an investor. I'm happy with that. The regular buyer doesn't know the difference. I don't think it's a major deal. Anyways, they did solve the problem, and I'm happy that they did.
Yeah, the way I understood the V3 versus V4 was that, with the lag comment, was that your training data, you haven't generated enough training data to have the neural nets learn on it. So Jeff's got to drive around for a while, and those clips have to be sent up before you can get that higher resolution, data to be analyzed by the AI. So perhaps I'm wrong. The way I interpreted, or I guess deduced it, was that the pixels, there's more pixels, there's more, more to understand. And, computers don't just use their eyes and stitch it all together, although now apparently they do. It's individual pixels, it's zeros and ones, and that data stream is different than what you have in V3. So when I heard it was a lag, I didn't think it was, you're not going to get FSD for 6 months. I just thought it's not going to be as good for a while, or it's not going to be that incremental movement, in performance better until they get that data.
Okay. The big topic though, guys, is FSD version 12. This is AI coded. Seems to be working really well. It's only now compute constrained. We as investors should be just jumping up and down for joy. This is it. We can see the light underneath the tunnel. Finally, we're seeing FSD going to be resolved. You can hear even all of the 4 different Tesla AI employees came out and said that it's now just compute constrained. And then they launched a brand new 10,000 N100s from H100s from NVIDIA supercomputer clusters, on top of the A100 supercomputer that they have, on top of the dojo that they have. And so this is like, we should be all very, very excited, because it sure looks like that we now had a breakthrough in FSD. So how are you guys absorbing this information?
I mean, I was absolutely enthusiastic on Friday night, and I still am. I watched that video a couple of times. It's painful to watch, right? Because the quality is just subpar, but it is, the most beautiful. You really have the feeling you participate in one of those key moments of a key industry and key development. And Xander is going to be very happy because the stock did nothing, right? And I had a couple of exchanges with Gary and other people that are on Wall Street. They don't buy. I mean, there were a couple that said, oh, this is interesting, but obviously the stock price didn't do anything. I don't think what we've seen in this week in the stock price had anything to do with version 12. So why don't they get it? Well, first of all, they always bring the argument, oh, Elon has promised for years and we're still not there. The second argument was, oh, but it missed that one single red light, so it's not there. What I think there is no understanding of, by feeding the system now images, everything is actually working by itself. It's not coding anymore. I don't think that this notion is even understandable to these analysts. And then it doesn't fit obviously into any of their models. So I've given up. I mean, I hate doing that, but I've given up on helping or trying to be with Gary. I know, how he would include software as a service, because his counter argument, which I'm very unhappy about. I wanted to say something more strong, but I'm trying to watch my mouth, I try. But his argument is, oh, it's only version 2. If only it would be version 4. And I tell him it will never go to version 4. It will never go to version 4. It will go to version 5. It will just work one day, and that's going to be it. And there will just be robotaxis. And if you all think, and that's why I did those job postings that I collect on the Tesla career website, if you all think that Tesla is not actively working with regulators on getting these approvals now, and if you don't understand that this last Nishta call on understanding what the Elon mode was is a nothing burger, if Nishta really wanted to be difficult about FSD, well, they could, and they're not. So for once, we have one agency that is certainly at the moment playing in favor of Tesla. So all this are great breadcrumbs for us who are working on this on a daily basis and are looking at this and are really, enthusiastic about it. But just we have to accept that Wall Street doesn't get it. And the day they get it, it will go in their spreadsheets and their valuation from 0 to skyrocket, because there's nothing in there yet. They haven't thought through robotaxis. They still believe that somebody with a LiDAR and a thing on the head of the car can do something halfway comparable. It's what can I do? And then let me add just one thing, because I was going into that for a couple of days now. In Germany, actually worldwide, one of the tier 1 suppliers for anything software related for cars is Bosch. So Bosch was working for years and throwing billions of euros at it on a LiDAR solution. And they have now officially yesterday actually announced that they're giving up on that. So the whole development on that to do their own LiDAR solution has been canned. meaning it's just a complete loss what they've done. They didn't want to go as far and say LiDAR is dead, but they admitted that if they would have to use LiDAR, it would be bought from either Chinese or American suppliers. Fair enough. But what it really means is the German industry had to admit, and admitted this morning in the Wirtschaftswoche, which is a sort of a weekly economist magazine of quite some good level, that in terms of software and in terms of any drive assist tools, there is just nothing, and Germany is so far behind that they will have to look for solutions. We've also heard from Volkswagen's management that there is nothing at the moment that's working, despite them continuously recruiting thousands of software engineers. So when you compare the two solutions, when you compare what you've seen with version 12, and so many people don't want to understand, and then hear the other side of an industry player, meaning the German car industry, which was so predominant in that field and is giving up, and their main tier one supplier is giving up on it, you just realize how far Tesla has come and has become the standard in the industry.
Yeah, I'll go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
Let's have Jeff get in.
Yeah.
I had some exchanges as well on Twitter with Gary and messages back and forth with other people regarding this. And in my day job, I get paid to help companies, design their unit economics for their product line and help them achieve their goals, so it matches the market that they're shipping into, and they have a successful product for its life cycle from an economics perspective. And when I think about what's happening, as Alexander described it, with these companies that are, pasting all these different things on their car, they have to remanufacture their car, and everybody just dismisses it as that, Tesla's solution being, south of 1,500, and maybe these competitive solutions are 5,000. It doesn't matter when robotaxis get turned on. It absolutely matters. It matters, number one, in the time to break even. It matters in hardware reliability of those cars and how often they're going to break down when they lose one of those sensors. It matters a ton. The Tesla has the most simplest solution, and in terms of there's no moving parts, okay? And they've approached it in a way where it's modular and it can scale. And you would never get the data. The lead that Tesla has is actually in the data. And now they're growing a lead in compute. And they already had the people, okay? So they would have never gotten the data if they didn't have the unit economics right at the client or the car level to be able to capture all this data. So I don't think people are getting this right. And when I look at what's happening with these autonomous taxi services that are doing trials in all these different cities, again, it's going to be very, very difficult to scale that and have it work reliably. They're already running into local maximums related to, internet coverage and network coverage and so forth, where they have to go back in and basically redesign the architecture of their system or continue to run into those local maximas. So, there's more to go. This was a drive. This drive is not being put in. It's not being monetized tomorrow. Tesla needs to be kind of more specific about, what this means. But just to throw out the level 3, 4, 5 stuff, it's actually not helpful, because those cars they may have passed some exam, some like written test or some sort of offline driving test to be given that rating, but it's actually not very useful in the real world. And there's people posting today about, a 1 mile ride costing $18 and it's taking 15 minutes for the car to get there's just a number of limitations of these systems that tend to just get whitewashed away, but they're real major issues. And I believe the big issue that's out there is they're not scalable economically.
Yeah. One thing people forget right now is that, yes, Cruise is in 7 cities, Waymo's in 3. China, they can show you these cars that are authorized to drive everywhere. But who's making money? These guys, each one of these guys are losing $2 billion per year. They have to have an internet access. They have to have a human being able to take over. And in fact, many of the drives, they don't tell you this, it's not autonomous, because there's a human there that's going to be able to take over if it needs to be, because this is the situation that they're at right now. So they threw out the cars. They're just trying to show that it works. and it does, but it's not. It's not. It's a business model that matters. They don't have the right business model unless you own the car, unless the customers own the car, like Tesla's model is. How are these guys going to make money? It's just hard to imagine how. And then I did an interview with Brian Wang. He did some deep dive research on all this, and he said that it's basically the same unit economics as Uber. And Uber took 10, 15 years. I don't know exactly how many years it was before they actually started getting profitable just last year. It took them that long to build out the number of cars. They would have to buy like, a million cars, and versus Tesla already has 4 million and they didn't have to pay for it. But if they needed to, they could buy it, make the money on the cars, and offer a robotaxi for free if they really wanted to, because they have the business model set up that they can make money this way. So at the end of the day, yes, there's going to be a second and a third, but I am not in any way concerned about these car companies that are out there, or what Gary Black is talking about, that, don't you know that these Chinese car companies are out there? Don't you see Cruise? This is going to be something everybody can copy. So just not going to happen.
Yeah, there's a fallacy
Christian,
with cost structure. I was just going to just really quickly say, sorry, there's a fallacy that time and scale solves a bunch of problems. And in some cases it does, in many cases it won't. If your underlying, system design is not actually scalable, time and scale is not going to solve that problem. And so this is why literally you point to every single one of them today, and they're all, if Baidu's giving 3.3 million rides and it's still a money loser, what does that tell you? So,
yeah. No, I love all your technical stuff. So my funnest, my watching that drive was watching Herbert, Jeff, and Xander watch the V12 drive. Oh man, I love that. You guys were like some kids in a candy store. That was awesome. No, all serious. That was fun. That was a fun night. That was a great show by you guys. I'll say Elon posting the drive. I've been asking, and I think you probably guys heard me say this. Elon, please do a drive, post it, video, and he did that. So check for that. I'm happy with that. And then the third thing, Ashok Alaswamy, right, sitting right there next to him. I trust that guy. I got to say it more than Elon. He's running the FSD. He's doing that day in, day out. Elon's checking in on him every week, but Ashok's in there, and he did a great tweet where he talked about this system, what they were doing. I'm just being very general. He said, this is the best system in the world, and this is the way that's going to work. And I got more confidence from Ashok's tweet than any of these Elons. This is going to be great. This is going to be great. I love Elon. But for me, when I want to know about FSD, I'm going to listen to Ashok and what he's saying and what he's tweeting. I think he's brilliant, and I think he's on the right track.
How come you didn't agree with me when I explained to you that when he did his presentation, he said that this new technology is going to be in customers' hands within 6 months, which by the end of this year. And you guys were like, no.
Well, I'm coming to your way of thinking, Herbert. You were ahead of me on that one. I give you credit. So yeah, I agree.
And see, Christian is seeing the light. You see it on his face.
Yeah, I'm in the best right.
Such an angel.
Yeah. I wanted to add that, I watched Rob Maurer's pixel analysis of the compute curve, and the math is stating that they're at like October levels of their prediction of compute, and we're still at September's doorstep. So I think that the data advantage that Tesla has with FSD, like that's what I continue to look at. This is a transitional year where just like I just stopped caring where the stock price is. And I get like, that's why I disagree with this whole like advertise. They're dumping billions of dollars into growing their ability to process the video data. And that is the competitive advantage. Just vision, no radar, no LiDAR, none of that stuff. Although radar's coming back. But like, to build this system out, and to Mexico to come online to get that different car, like that's what we're going through. So for me as a long-term shareholder, like I get the whole liquidity event thing, but that's just not where we're at. We're in tough.
But Xander, I got to stop you. You got leaps. You got time on your thing. Unless you sold your leaps, you're on a time schedule.
Yeah, and I'm going to lose. And I'm going to lose 6 figures, and it's significant.
Okay.
I made my bed. Like I could have gotten out. Like this is
Like,
this,
there
the
you
point
go.
is.
No,
The
I'm
point
just
is,
saying there's a time crunch for you
I
if you want
know,
to.
but
Yeah, you know,
but that's
you don't
my
care.
fault. Like I don't
Okay.
care. I don't care
Okay.
because
Fair enough.
the fundamental position, right? The shares. I want that to have, you know, to continue to be on the road of that possible 5x or 3x
No,
or
I agree with
10x
you.
or whatever it is. Now, are there other stocks? Sure, but from the, you know, I'm an idiot. I can't pick these winners like Jeff with EOSE and go get that. I'm just gonna stick to
What about Celsius?
Exactly. So anyway, I just think that like the data is where that's the new oil, and focusing on what Tesla is setting up, that is, you know, an opportunity in my book, and I don't see them fumbling that part, the actual earnings potential that will translate into a stock price increase, you know, or a big move in the future. So they haven't fumbled in my book. And go for
And Xander, I wasn't trying to rub that in on you. I was just curious to see, because I know you have a lot of leaps, and when you say you don't care about the stock price, I was just double checking that you still own them or not. Yeah.
I mean, it would be nice. Look, it would be nice to have them come out with a big earnings increase. Maybe in Q4 we see that. You know, after you have some Cybertruck revenues, maybe the Project Highland revenues, right? If you're now casting the front of the vehicle, and we can actually see that story start playing out where the earnings start going back up, then, you know, people go, okay, the worst is over, let's pile in, and you have that explosion. It's possible, but you know, I made my bed, so I gave up.
But my point is that, you know, here we are still having this conversation about margins on cars and how many cars are being sold. Guys, the conversation is fast changing. We're talking about full self-driving and the margins being skyrocketing. If they solve full self-driving, and the probability of this is so much higher than it was 2 months ago, based on what we now know today on how things are being done and so forth. I mean, it's no longer, I know it's hard. It's really hard. Yeah, I know we are. It's hard for people who've been hearing every year, this is the year, just wait till Q3, just wait till Q4, just wait. People are getting tired of this, but it really is. We're really finally there. You know, the Cybertruck is coming out. That's a fact. You know, you can't deny me. Last show we had, you, Christian, were saying that maybe Cybertruck is going to be delayed till next year. And I'm like, okay. No, not the delivery event. That's not.
I don't hope it is.
Delivery is not going to be delayed. It's going to happen. The delivery event, right? Now everything will be slow, but things are happening now. So let's change our topic to stock market. We already talked about the union situation. We talked a little bit about the Tesla stock action. Let's talk about the Fed and the macro. What's happening here in the U.S. What's happening in China, and then let's talk about other stocks like Redwood Materials and Palantir. So why don't you start, Jeff? Tell us a little bit about what you see is happening on the Fed.
Redwood Materials and Palantir.
I don't know where you got the Palantir thing. I could see the Redwood Materials.
I can think of a couple other names we could be talking about. Yeah, I mean, macro-wise, I mean, a lot of interesting data points. The core PC came out this morning. It was in line. You know, it's still. I mean, there's still persistent inflation, but it's the housing component is really starting to come down. But the other components have actually creeped up. So the housing component's now actually starting to kick in and offset. And we also had some jobless claims, and they came in roughly in line. But you know, I think the bigger data point was earlier a few days ago when the JOLTS number came out. And this is a number that the Fed uses. It's about 2 months in arrears, and it measures job openings and turnover and so forth of the labor force. It's measured in millions. And the data point came in much, much higher, means you've got a lot of job openings. The data point came in much, much lower than expected, really getting back to just, you know, post-pandemic norms. And it was kind of a big, the markets took off when the JOLTS number came in like that. There was also some weakness, a little bit of weakness in some retail data. So anyways, there's a number of data points where good is bad and bad is good. We're still in that a little bit of that mode. But in general, I think the odds for an increase in September are somewhere in the 10 to 20% range. They're pretty small in terms of there being a rate increase. And now, November's being looked at. And with that JOLTS number that came out a couple of days ago, the actual next year, the month where they were thinking would be the first month where there'd actually be a rate cut was pulled in a couple of months, I believe, to May. So some pretty good encouraging signs from a macro perspective, but we're nowhere near out of the woods, so forth. So anyway, there's still a long way to go, and there's still a lot of risk out there that could occur. But a couple of good kind of inline data points and a couple of, I guess, real surprises with the JOLTS that would actually help the markets, help tech.
Yeah, speaking of tech, we'll get a jobs number tomorrow. I don't know when you're going to put this out, Herbert, but we'll get a jobs number. And I'm feeling kind of good because if it's a strong job number, that's just going to bolster GDP. And if it's, kind of weak, well, that's the bad news is good news kind of what scenario, what Jeff was just talking about with the JOLTS, right? If jobs number a little weak, that puts the Fed, maybe we don't have to do as much. So we're kind of in a good spot. And I agree. I think tech is going to be the outperformer here because of the AI. And I just think those businesses, they're just massive businesses, the Alphabets of the world, Tesla even, Apple, Amazon. You see the strength that they're doing, and you see the consumer starting to roll over a little bit in some of the retail names, some of those stocks being crushed, the Nordstroms of the world and plenty others. Some are doing all right, but a lot of them are not meeting their numbers. So I think the consumer is going to be squeezed a little bit, but I think the winners are going to be the big mega cap tech again, because they're just so big. The Amazons of the world, you're going to go use Amazon. You're going to use your phone. You're going to watch YouTube. You're going to, you're going to re-up your iPhone. You're going to use the services at Apple. They just have such big moats, and they have so much cash, and they can buy back their shares. It's just great businesses, and they're so big now. It's so hard to disrupt them. And I think even if the economy goes down a little bit, I still think big tech could do pretty well just because of their non-cyclical nature. Again, I think they reduced their headcounts. Google, Meta, they all cut, and they're leaner and they're meaner. Tesla, Apple, and they're just great businesses. And I think, they might not rock it, but I think they're still great investment for the next 5 years, 10 years. These things are going to be bigger, and people want to own them, right? There's always going to be buyers for those stocks because they're such sure things. Yeah, could they go down a lot? Yes, but they almost act like a safety net because they're so big and they're not going to go out of business. People almost use them as a bond because they're so safe and they're so big and they're going to be around. So I like those stocks for the long term.
And Christian, you got to move that ring light up. Are you experimenting? Is this the first week?
It's not a ring light. That's a sun.
It's a sun.
I'm just kidding.
That's the sun. So guys, China's going through deflation. They actually cut their interest rate, their 1 year interest rate 2 times in the last 3 months already. And then there's a lot of kind of belief that when China goes deflation, the world will go deflation. And so, yeah, we are going to do a pivot. There's, as much as the Fed doesn't want to and they want to hold it off, like you said, the reality is that I think 70% chance now, it shot up from 20% to 70% chance that there's going to be a rate cut by, I don't remember it now, is it May next year? So it's we're headed in this direction, I think. So it's a good news. I think at the end of the day, we need to see rate cuts. That's going to be great news for Tesla, high ticket price items, and that's going to start happening.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
The only thing I'll say with the deflation, China, they're trying to stimulate, their economy is in shambles. It really is. Xi Jinping is, he's letting the miracle almost go down. The youth unemployment is through the roof. Their real estate is in a big mess. So I get what you're saying with the deflation, but their deflation could turn into really bad deflation really quick, because if they don't get this economy going, that thing,
right.
And the second biggest economy going down is going to affect the rest of the world. So I would be careful with that whole deflation thing, because if they import deflation around the world, that's not great, because inflation is already coming down. It's already down.
That's why I'm saying we should be doing rate cuts now. Why are we waiting till?
No, I agree. I think the Fed's going to look. the Fed has engineered, they've done better than I thought. But if they keep this game and get too cute and hold too long or do another cut, 25 won't matter. You know, it doesn't matter till it matters. And if they go again and something snaps and then we get a panic, you got a problem. So I agree with you, Herbert. They should stop now. And if anything, signal that the next move will be down. They should signal
the whole thing about November, I mean, doing a rate. So think about it. If they've now pulled in the rate cut prediction to May, and then they've had this November meeting out there, how stupid would it be to literally raise rates a few months before you're actually pulling that rate increase off? I mean, so anyway, we're not economists. We'll see what happens, but we're all watching this, and we all kind of think it should go in one direction versus another.
Don't worry, Jack. Those economists don't know much. We know as much as they know.
Well, we know that they don't know how to they don't know how to forecast.
Yeah.
We know
they don't know. They're doing what we're doing. They're just speculating, and we could probably speculate as well as they can, to be honest.
Maybe we should just make the decision here and then set it.
I think we should be the new Fed.
Rate cut.
Ask the taxi driver or the Uber driver. They know it much more.
And I don't mind going out to Jackson Hole. That looks like a beautiful place. That's a hell of a gig if you can get it.
Herbert. Upside for the CyberBulls. There we go.
Yeah. There you go.
We'll do that.
Quick correction, Christian. You said cut. You meant another quarter-point hike. Just for everyone listening.
No, I'm saying they should hold here, and I'm saying the next move they should do should be a cut.
Yeah. But you said specifically, you said that even if they raise the quarter, it wouldn't matter. But you said the word cut, so just for
maybe I was confused. I'm saying they might go another quarter, but I'm saying no. If they do that, they could get too cute, and they could. That quarter doesn't seem like a lot, but when you've raised 550, 600 basis points in this short amount of time, we don't know. Maybe that would trigger another Silicon Valley or something else. There's still a lot of institutions that problem didn't go away. They're long on the bonds, and this short end keeps going up. Charles Schwab is in a little bit of a trouble. There's other institutions that right now we don't hear about it, but
just think about all the interest on the money the federal government's giving away today. All the interest they're going to have to pay on that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The budget, again, I don't want to go too far afoot, but if they keep raising that rate, the interest that the government is paying, it's going to be $1 trillion. It's going to take up so much of the budget. It's going to crowd out all the other investments. So at some point, they're going to have to bring it in. So we'll see.
It'll happen. So when I said Redwood Material and Palantir, you laughed, Jeff, and so I want to hear why you did. Redwood Material raised another $1 billion just a few days ago, and obviously we know that JB Straubel is a board member of Tesla. He was a co-founder of Tesla, and a lot of people saying that they want to invest in Redwood Material. They are recycling of batteries, and they're going to provide batteries, which we know is one of the biggest issues. They're going to have access to mineral resources that it's cost much more money trying to mine it and refine it rather just taking old batteries and do it that way. So, but you laugh, Jeff. Why would you laugh on Redwood Material, buddy?
I wasn't laughing at Redwood Materials. I was laughing. I thought you said we're gonna have a discussion of other stocks, and they're not being traded. And then the other stock was Palantir,
which we know very little about.
Yeah. So, but no, I'm not. Yeah, I think Redwood's great. I mean, we don't know the business yet. We really need to understand like how good of a business this is, but it should be a good business. We just don't know, like from a unit economics perspective, do they have a path of profitability? When is that? What does the business look like? But the whole concept of everything's above ground, and now let's figure out how to reuse that. I mean, that's amazing. And I think they're going to scale and grow, and I think it's great.
Okay, give me stock advice. What should I invest in, Jeff?
Well, here's the problem. You can't invest in Redwood Materials. You can't invest in it. So it's no point.
Forget that. Any other stock, Jeff? You to me.
We shouldn't be giving investment advice on public forums.
We talk about stocks in our thing all the time, Herbert. You're not paying attention. And then you want to talk about it.
I'm paying attention. It was a trick question. I'm not going to invest in any other stock except for Tesla. We already settled that years ago, and I can defend myself.
You're good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're playing in the margins, like maybe 10,000, 30,000, whatever, that's fine. I'm just saying that. I'm not going to take off my money for Tesla.
I gave you Celsius and Celsius was in the 130s.
I'm laughing. Celsius is a freaking drink. It's a beverage. Okay.
But Herbert, look, see, we're talking two different things.
It's up
Celsius
50%
was an
in a
$80
month.
stock. It's trading 200.
I don't care.
You could almost quote a triple in it in less than a year. Your goal is not to make money. Your goal is to hold Tesla and 10x it in 5 years, 10 years.
You just asked me for stocks.
I laughed at your suggestion. I'm now laughing. I'm regretting my suggestion. A beverage is there's no competitive advantage. There's no moat. There's like an instant, they're being excited. So everybody's buying it and trying it out. And then it could instantly.
You must be allergic to making money, Herbert.
Sneezing.
Okay, let's
move
on. I'm into technology.
80 to 200. I mean, you could say, yes, it's a drink. I don't want to invest in it, but you could have made a lot of money by doing a little bit of research.
Hey,
that brings me actually to a project I have, and I want to share with you because more people know about it, more people can help me. I was just recruiting new people for my day job. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. So I'm using a staffing agency, and they're very good in presenting those CVs now. The resumes, they look much better than the good old times when I was still hunting for a job. And they have this spider web profile of, these people. So I was looking for an executive assistant and for certain characteristics, and they displayed the different candidates in the spider web. And that made me think we should actually do that for us as Tesla investors, right? There are Tesla investors who are in it for the money only, and I'm not criticizing that. They love the trading aspect of it. There are Tesla's investors like probably Herbert who are in it for the mission, right? Where the mission is much bigger. There are others that are Elon fans. There are others that are car fans.
Money.
I'm not for the mission, guys. I'm here to make a ton of money.
There you are.
Money.
Well, fair enough. Maybe you're the same spider web than Christian then.
But Celsius is a gamble. Yes, you doubled. Yes, it went 5x. Yes, you did make money on EOS as well. Tesla is less of a gamble. Okay, I better stop.
I thought we were talking Redwood Materials. Why are we off in the weeds about Celsius? Like
Herbert baited me. Herbert baited me. I responded.
I prepared.
You can't do anything with Redwood Material. You can't do anything.
What value? Do you know what value it was?
We should hear Xander out.
Go ahead, Xander. You tell us about Redwood Material.
Yeah, go ahead. No, hold on. Do you know the value that?
What they raised $1 billion.
They raised.
So what's it, a $4 billion valuation?
No,
I don't know.
Higher than that. So I heard it's.
Are you going to buy some?
Well, no, you have to be a real baller to get in on those.
The trick question.
I mean, look, you can get in. There's private, it's a private equity.
Yeah, like
fund.
SpaceX, you can get in.
Yeah. So you can get in, and but like something that I was thinking about, and I was wondering is so the interesting part is supply chain wise, and Jeff, I'm looking at you. Where does Tesla cross the path with them, right? So if the car's batteries aren't ready to retire yet, is there any like production, like the rejects of the 4680s and whatever? How high is that rate? Was it like 15% or 30%? Do we know that number? And
we don't know.
Isn't that
we don't know? We don't know.
Yeah.
But I would think that Tesla would want to be able to rework and recycle inside of their factory when they're doing battery manufacturing. I would assume they would want to make that loop that close to do that. But I do think that they're going to be working very closely with Redwood to bring in batteries from materials from abroad. So, I do think there's going to be a lot of synergies there.
Yeah, and then how does lithium refining that's being done in Corpus Christi, that being built out? How is this? How is that going to contribute to Tesla's ability to grow and scale the batteries?
Well, the bottleneck right now, everybody likes to post lithium prices, but the bottleneck is the actual refined product, and that is where that's why Tesla is creating that refinery option to add to the existing supply base. So now, when Tesla is an entrant in that supply base, number one, they're going to have better pricing power They're going to be able to source directly from themselves and not have to pay themselves a margin. And they're going to be able to basically tap that and turn that volume, to the right. If pricing or supply bottlenecks get out of whack, they're going to have their own ability to deal with that bottleneck. And how that connects to Redwood is, that lithium hydroxide that's already in product, they'll be able to pull that out of product and reuse it. So think of Corpus Christi refinery in terms of like mining, pulling stuff out of the ground and refining it for how much they need to pull out of the ground. And think of them going to Redwood to say, all right, for all this stuff that's above ground, how do we make the best use of it and reuse it in product?
Nice, thank you.
We should start an investing club like Kramer. The CyberBulls Investing Club.
Let's do it.
That's the joke.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff out there. It's a tough market though, but yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff. That's even just connected to clean energy. Remember, the government has a bazooka going right now, giving out money for clean energy projects. So I would not, the term "don't fight the Fed." I would not be fighting the federal government on this because they've got a ton of money to spend on this.
Yep. We got Herbert.
Okay. All right, let's go. Let's move on to society. So we are all using Twitter. It's now called X, and there's quite a bit of news that came out this week on that. So first of all, there was they communicated that there's going to be a clampdown on X users who are forming clubs that are follow each other, who are paying users, people who are paying other users to be able to follow them or send out their tweets. And so they actually called out Internet of Memes, and because that account was actually selling some of their tweets to other users. But other than that, I mean, I think many of us are feeling that there's just X has had a tremendous amount of new features at launch. It's like just a lightning fast how quickly they're adding these things. In the meantime, the creator monetization is causing a little bit of blips right now. Some of us are feeling like the kind of tweets we're seeing, the posts we're seeing is kind of just people trying to make money, fast bucks. What do you guys think? I know you have some strong opinions on this, Alexandra.
I do. And it's actually funny because people accuse me of doing this boomer house for exactly that. And it's exactly the opposite. I did it because I wanted to use the collective knowledge about the algorithm, because each of us have a different experience, smaller accounts, bigger accounts, people that respond more, others that do original posts more. And we wanted to understand, how this works, and is the reach bigger when you're affiliated. So that's one experiment. And that one, it's less about, or at least for me, it's less about the money, because for me, it's going to be a money losing machine, but it's more about understanding. But where I'm now, about 3 weeks into the Boomer House experience and about 2 months into this monetization story and about 4 months into the subscriber scene, I'm sort of fed up to think that everything on X has become monetizable. I don't like this idea. I have a nostalgic feeling about the before monetization phase. Why is that? First of all, some of the accounts I really enjoyed following prior to that are now inundating us with tweets of very low quality, yet Elon likes them sometimes, some other big accounts interact with them, and so they get even more exposure. And I'm not even talking about affiliate badges or whatever, I'm just talking about their modus operandus. So that already saddens me, because these people were people I really enjoyed interacting with, and it was in a good camaraderie way, and now suddenly you feel you're used. It feels a little bit dirty. The other thing that bothers me even more, I mean, I told you I wouldn't keep my mouth shut here. The other thing that bothers me even more is this copying of videos and pictures of other people without crediting them. This has gotten out of hand. I mean, I saw this morning a tweet by X, a post by X saying they're going to put AI on it, and on each duplicata there will be the source named. I hope that comes quickly, because this has gone crazy. I mean, I can't tell you how many Cybertruck videos and pictures I've seen over and over and over and over and over again. Some of them still have at least the decency to name the original one. Some, it's not even the original one, it's the third one who copied who gets named as the source, but most of them don't even call the source anymore. I mean, it's a bit sad. First of all, it's very repetitive in your feed afterwards if all this stuff comes over and over and over again. And second, it's just, it killed this feeling that we had of being a community where, you know, it was all fun of interacting. It wasn't done for the sake of the damn 1,000 or 100 or $50 per fortnight, because that's where we are now. And I mean, I'm posting a lot. I'm trying to bring original content to it. My payout for a 2-week period is $200, and I'm to the point now, and I will make a decision sooner or later, where I will really consider whether it's worth running these subscription pages. I mean, again, you know, I'm giving it all to charity, and I think it's a nice thing, but it gets to me, and doing this and doing this whole monetization game, because I feel like it is actually deteriorating the interactions we have on X. So I said it, I feel sad about it, and maybe it will improve. I hope they pivot quickly. Usually Elon, when he senses something has gone too far or not the way he wanted, he's very good at pivoting.
I don't know if he knows that it's gone too far. I think he's perfectly happy with the copying of videos and copying of memes. I don't know. I hope that they're going to work on that, that if you create a video and somebody else copies it, that they will, you know, your watermark at least, or maybe you'll share in the revenue. I know that they have a new feature that lets you, if you're a premium subscriber, you're able to restrict.
It doesn't work.
Download your video.
I can't do it on Android and on the desktop. I don't know whether it would work on Apple, but on Android and the desktop, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think maybe it's convenient for him, and he finds that his whole family album is on Twitter. So
many pictures with the kids,
every picture from his childhood all the way up, it's there. So maybe it's convenient. Who needs Google Photos?
Come on, share us your opinion, Jeff. You were just telling me all sorts of stuff, and now here you're quiet. Come on, what do you feel about this?
I think Alexandra summarized it well.
Oh, boo. Come on.
Have you ever had anything stolen, Jeff?
Sure. I mean, I've had, you know, I find some pretty good tweets, like especially some CNBC stuff. And sometimes people take liberties with it, and it happens. So it just, I mean,
and it happens. Jeff, say it. It happens consistently with a couple of accounts that do it again and again and again. And I mean, they're big Tesla accounts. It pisses me off. I'm sorry to say so. It pisses me off.
Yeah, and they're getting better at quote tweeting now. I think that message is starting to get out there of, like, you know, somebody put something out there, you should really quote tweet them versus, you know, literally taking their content and using it. So I think Sawyer's done a good job of putting that out there. So yeah, I mean, this is what happens. This is all comes down to what are the metrics, what are the motivations, and as you know, and as long as these are the metrics and this is how people are being motivated, you're going to get these kind of results. And now they're going to have to shape the metrics and how things are measured so you get more desirable results. Sorry, Xander.
No, I just like, I love the community, and, you know, found it in like 2019. And for me, it was a filter of intelligence. The people that, like you guys, that I've met, it's you know, refreshing to, because I was a hermit before that. I just you know, I'm as you can see, I like to focus on the business at hand, and but then, like, seeing big accounts like literally steal someone's post a minute after, and that's another huge account. I think that's shameful. They shouldn't do that. And, you know, I'm very glad that Sawyer it looks like he's defending himself, because like it really is, it's not okay. You shouldn't steal, right? We have laws, for trademarks and for copyright laws that state that if you're, like, you can't do it in school, but we could do it and you can get paid for it. I think X needs to do something about that. There should be punishments for just blatantly stealing. Now, obviously, in this case, Sora just posted an article, and someone else, took the same article and posted almost the same exact line that Sawyer posted.
The exact same line, not the almost, the exact same line in the same minute.
Yeah, so I was triggered by that. I think it's wrong. I really wish the community would stop posting Elon AI generated images. Like, we've had enough. I understand, and everyone's chasing the dollar and all of that, but like, is it really worth bringing our level, right, with the Tesla shareholders that are so intelligent, down to just chasing a couple of bucks? Like, I get it. You can buy an extra share, but come on, like, let's be mature.
Well,
I agree with everything. The only thing I say, Elon said it, and we all know it, incentives matter. What are you incentivizing? This is what you're incentivizing. You get what you incentivize. If you say your impressions is what the threshold is, then you need to get a lot of impressions, and you need to get a lot of things under that impressions in the replies to make money. So if you incentivize it, that's what you'll get.
Yeah, and it's true. And actually, I feel the way it's set up at the moment, it doesn't really even incentivize creation, because I know people that get 10 times, 20 times the impressions I get just by replying to big posts, by being quick when those come out to quickly have an answer below it. And I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad strategy, to each their own, but that's not creative, being a quick replier. But that currently what happens is you have the post, you have a first, a second, a third reply, and then the ad comes in, or sometimes it already comes after the second response. And people have figured it out, that that's what triggers the ad, and they hope that triggers then their share of the ad revenue. So it is what it is. I mean, again, it makes me unhappy because I feel it's a little bit bitter, but I do also believe it's something they can actually pivot easily, making it clearer what they're doing.
So how would you? Now I just learned something. And
yeah, I didn't know that either. You want to be the next two replies to a big post, and then the ad comes and you get the share in that. Okay.
Well, you get a share, and I mean, you didn't contribute obviously as much as the creator of the thing did, and while we're discussing these big accounts copying information, check what they do in the replies, because they figured it out. You suddenly find them in the reply because they want to get the replies going. Because what you do, so you have a first reply, and then the creator himself, who stole the original post, replies to a multiple other replies, because that then triggers like a tree different ads, right? And so look at those huge accounts, how interactive they are on the first 10, 15 replies they are, because that triggers 10, 15 tree branches of potential ads.
I'm okay with that. That part, it's okay. Conversation. But yeah, wow. It's based on the intent. If the conversation, I'm just doing it because I'm going to make more money, then yeah, it's crap. But if it's like really, truly good information, sure, right? Sure. So how would you incentivize to reduce unregrettable minutes?
I mean, we have AI, right? So for me, it seems evident that Twitter X should really scan posts to see whether this is a double of something that already existed prior, and then automatically hide those. That would immediately stop all this copying. And I mean, if there's any change, fair enough, then AI will consider how worthy it is to exist by itself. But if it's not, or if it's not quoting the source, it goes away.
Okay, nice, great, good information here. You heard it here.
I was just taking notes.
Taking notes.
Come to the Boomer House. We'll teach you.
Yeah, I got to sign up for that.
Okay. Yeah.
You should
get my views up.
With original content.
Money, Christian. It's all about the money, Christian.
So that you can buy more Celsius shares. Okay, go for it, buddy.
I love it.
Not here.
Buy low, sell high.
Am I going to buy the drink, or am I going to buy the share?
Already? Herbert, it's about buy
already too
low,
high.
sell high. I probably already sold Celsius. I don't own it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I understand. That's okay. I'm not.
It's called.
It's a good
called,
strategy.
You're not familiar with this concept. I'm just making a joke. It's called a trade. A trade. You
Don't
can
be
make
emotional.
money
I got you.
trading.
Yeah. I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I'm just having fun. I get you guys. I got you. And I do buy and sell stocks too, by the way. I'm just having fun.
I am too.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Great CyberBulls. Appreciate the conversation. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
See you next week.
See you guys.
Hey there. Thank you for joining me. If you can, please consider supporting this channel so I can keep it going. It's a lot of work arranging all these amazing interviews. One of the easiest ways is just to click that join button and become a member of the channel. Thank you very much. Let's get brighter.